we have the next speaker talking about mankind. We had many different activities going on. He worked on many different activities, for example, agriculture. And one of the most important industries out there is agriculture, which is supporting us. And in the past, we were damaging the environment. But actually, our next guest is on a scientific measure. He's trying a new approach. So, Mr. Funabashi. Hello, everyone. Today, I would like to talk about the importance of life. When I was at 5, I had a small goldfish as a pet, which I won at the festival. However, the third day after I brought it home, it died. And I was quite sad. And I remember crying. I've also had many other types of animals as pets. For example, butterflies, or praying mantises, or turtles, or tropical fish, or hamsters. I've had many different types of small animals as pets, but they all ended up dying due to small mistakes in handling or raising them. I've experienced this many times. So, life, you cannot escape death when you have life. So, when you're an elementary school or middle school kid and you realize this when you see death, so in that sense, death equalizes everything. This is what I had for lunch yesterday, the bento, or Japanese lunchbox. Of course, there's many different foods in here, but they were all originally living. They all had life originally. For example, we had the cows for the beef, or the pork from pigs or chicken or eggs. We had potatoes or beans, rice, many different types of life, which we are taking to sustain ourselves. So we kill them and we take the life in order to sustain our own lives. So thus, to eat is to kill. We are killing so that we can continue living. That is the cruelness and the preciousness of life. Through this, we are able to sustain ourselves. So what kind of creatures are we to take the lives of so many different living creatures? In the past 100 years, the world population grew from 2 billion to 7 billion people. In 2045, when all of you are adults, the population is expected to hit close to 9 billion people. So, where are we getting this food to be able to support so many people? This is the answer, is agriculture. The current agriculture that we have is we do crops in a large scale, for example, potatoes. And here is a picture from America, a picture from above, from the sky, on a farming area in America. And you till the land, and you use fertilizers, and you use pesticides. So, for example, these forests, or the grasses, or the plants which are there, or the animals which are there before, you get rid of them. And you are just planting the things necessary to feed humans. That's the current type of agriculture. The darker areas are the farming areas around the world. And these are the areas where natural scenery has been changed or destroyed due to agriculture. And actually, this is starting to actually affect natural environments far away as well. So food is needed to be able to support people, but right now this agriculture is destroying the environment. Have you heard of the ecosystem? In the world ecosystem, which connects all these living creatures, you have eating, being eaten, helping, competing. This is nature. This is what we call the ecosystem. For example, in the sea as well, you have the plankton, the fish, and you have these building blocks, which is sort of like Jenga. So for human being sustenance, let's say that we take out the building blocks needed for those human sustenance. For example, in order to live, you need to be able to build a house. So in order to build a house, you destroy the nature which was there. And you don't want bugs coming into your house, so you destroy the bugs and kill the bugs. Also, you have wastewater from the houses. This water, this contaminates the rivers and seas and destroys the living creatures living there. You also have to create roads. In order to create the road, you have the houses, you have the animals living there, and you have to get rid of the animals living there and take their houses. And when you have cars, you are using fuel, and you're using fossil fuels for cars, and this is making carbon dioxide, and this leads to global warming and causes the ice at the North Pole to melt, and then the animals who live there can't live there anymore. So you're having more and more blocked out, and you have more and more pieces being taken out. But it's still okay. It still hasn't. It's still standing. But you take one more out, maybe because you think that nature is very strong, so you can take out as many pieces as you want. But in actuality, you probably were thinking that for a long time. But now we're taking out more and more. And it looks like it's going to fall, but it's okay still. And right now it's a little bit shaky. So the bottom part is a little bit shaky, but still it's okay. It's still standing. And it looks like in the middle, if you take one out, it should be okay. So let's take it out. What happens? It falls down. All of a sudden, it falls down. So the living beings were working together. They had this ecosystem. But all of a sudden, once it falls down, you can't put it back to the way it was. Let's try to put it together. Just trying to put it together like this, it's not going to work. It's going to break down again. Even if you try to get a good balance here, it's difficult to do because the foundation is gone. So it's very weak. What's similar here is agriculture, where you till the land and you get rid of everything on the ground to be able to plant the crops. So let's say we want to plant a corn seed. So you plant corn. So you just have only one type of plant, which is the corn being grown. So you only have corn. This is the current type of large-scale agriculture. This is the current state. You got rid of the forest here, and it's basically like a desert. And on top of this desert, you're just planting one type of plant, which is corn in this case. So whose fault is this? Who's the person who put out the last piece and caused it to fall? But what about the people who put out the pieces before the final piece? Isn't it their fault as well? Each of them were just thinking about what's needed for people. In order to be able to grow field and have a place to live, they were taking out the pieces. It may be okay for the individual, but overall it's not. I won't tell you the answer, but think about this yourself. Whose fault is it? So, we can only obtain food by pulling out the blocks of lives of other living creatures from this Jenga type of ecosystem. We are choosing which lines to take and which blocks to pull out from the ecosystem. In order for us to live, we must take the lives of living creatures. So we cannot avoid this. But if you make the wrong decision, this could actually destroy other animals or actually destroy the earth as well. There's that threat there. So we must understand the ecosystem and we must make sure that we are consistent. We must work together to live. Which is why we have this Synecocultural farming, or this live and let live type of farming. This is a garden using this live and let live type of language. So we are not creating just one type of crop like you do in large-scale agriculture. There is many different types of plants, wild plants, fruit trees, animals, actually seeing a lot of plants which you do not see in the supermarket. So we are not tilling, we are not using fertilizer or using pesticides. We're having the farm, the animals in the farm just surviving on their own. This is around a 4 square foot meter garden. And there's even just with the large vegetables, you have over 10 different types. For example, you have Chinese cabbage, eggplants, leeks, carrots, potatoes, radishes. And once you take something, then you either plant another seed or you plant a small plant in the opening. So if we take like from the ecosystem, we will have to fill in the gap. So if we take out a piece of a block, we have to put in another block. Here in this garden, there's many different types of vegetables, fruit trees, and wild plants. There's also many animals living here. And all of them are supporting the foods we eat. If we take life, we have to give back more than we take. If not, then the Jenga type ecosystem will break down. Next. Here in this live and let live type of farming, there's many different bugs here as well. These are butterflies. There's over 70 different types of butterflies. Normally you don't have a lot of butterflies in farms. There's also many different unique bugs. And normally caterpillars are treated as a harmful insect in the typical farming, but there are these caterpillars as well. There's also many different types of colorful flowers. So there's many different types of living things here. They are eating or being eaten, supporting each other, helping each other, or competing with each other. So what plants get along with other plants? And which plants compete with others? Or what animals should you have and what animals compete with what? To be able to put this all together, you have to deeply and broadly think about these issues. But actually, we're already doing such complicated things. What I mean by this is the internet. This is the internet which you're using every day. This is, we have network which is connecting the different home pages. And people's, corporations, organizations are connected to these homepage on the internet. And when you're connected to the net as well, we use the term ecosystem. So this internet is actually very similar to the ecosystem in nature as well. So how can we use information on the ecosystem, on the internet? Actually, there's already an initiative already started on this. There's a database, many databases on the internet, which were created by experts in ecosystems and environmental studies. So you can use this information when you are doing your live or let live type of farming. So actually, in the afternoon, we have a game on this. And for example, the gardens in your house or the open areas in your community, you could do these types of gardens, or in your schools as well. So the changes that you're seeing in your gardens, we want you to share this information with others. So there's actually many different NPOs, corporations, individuals. They are sharing this information regarding these ecosystems. They have blogs or pictures or homepage to share this information. And living creatures aren't limited to a particular border of a country. Therefore, your information that you share with could help people around the world. Your information is important. So your age or sex or citizenship isn't relevant. And actually, elementary schools or middle school children have a very keen sense of observation and can catch things adults can miss. So please share this information around the world so we can start to recover these Jenga-like building blocks of the ecosystem. And then we can also greatly change how agriculture is done. And then we can help replenish the Earth's life energy before it's too late. There are many different ecosystems in the world. The deserts, grasslands, thickets, forests. You have seas or rivers, and they all have their own different lives in them. And this is called biodiversity. And only humans can interact with all of these living things in each of these ecosystems. Other living things are only living in their own environment, but we as humans can interact with all of them. So it's our responsibility to appropriately manage things in order to not to destroy the building blocks of the ecosystems. So we have the technology from mankind. We must use this to be able to manage things appropriately. So please remember the importance of life when you're eating. Also think about what you can do to help other living beings' lives. Think about the life of the earth as well. Thank you.
Wait a moment, please. Let me just talk just a little bit. I talked to him backstage, and he said that I looked a little bit like the character Anpanman. Thank you for your speech. It was wonderful. How long have you been doing this? It's about 3 years ago is when I started, so it's relatively new. Is this spreading worldwide? Well, it's going to depend on everybody's efforts. There's lots of similar ideas. What we need to do is create a database and look at the results. It was quite difficult, but now, with the internet and we can use technology to see how the different life forms we can see how the different life forms interact with each other. Up until now, the information there was so much information to make a judgment. But now, with all the different information out there, we're able to make different choices. Within those choices, we can think about what we can do, what will work best. And we can see what works and what doesn't work for the future. So the agriculture that we've been involved in now might not be able to be sustained. But the more people do it, the more information we have. Thank you very much. Well, Mr. Funabashi has a workshop in the afternoon. You can experience his agricultural method. Thank you very much.